Hi, you guys. Happy Monday. Hope you're having a good one. And thank you so much for those who have been congratulating me. We just hit 50,000 followers on late Saturday night, and it's just been fun celebrating a milestone. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. And what I want to try and do with my IGTVs and lives is to address questions that I feel like I'm getting over and over and over again and have for a really long time. So today's question that I want to address is shelf paper. I'm surprised how often I get asked. A lot of people who follow me notice that I don't use shelf paper. And so then usually when I get people asking about recommendations for what types of shelf paper I like the best, or if they should use it and where they should use it, I'll usually just DM them privately. That's what I've done the last year. But it is a question that keeps popping up over and over again. And so I just want to talk about a few things about shelf paper. Again, these are just my opinions. And I've tried lots of shelf paper through the years. So the bottom line is, for those who are still joining in, because I know there are still people popping on here, is I typically do not use or recommend using shelf paper. And there are a few reasons why. When I'm organizing a space and when I'm teaching others to organize their spaces, what we're typically doing is putting items in containers. So whether we're putting them in acrylic or plastic or straw or whatever it is, we're putting them in a new container, and almost everything ends up being contained in the end. So you can pull your drawer out or your OXO or your container out, and you don't have things just sitting on your shelf, generally speaking. Cans sometimes will sit on the shelf. We'll use tiered shelves for cans oftentimes, which means that front row is sitting on the shelf. But even then we're not, sorry, I have a fly in my house. Even then we're not like sliding tons of cans in and out of a space. So there really isn't anything that needs a liner as far as protecting the shelf, because the shelf is already protected by the bins that we're using. I do like to use, there's a clear thick a clear thick plastic liner that you can buy in a roll that I actually really like. We'll use it for random things, not for shelves necessarily. Sometimes we'll cut it out and then we'll sticky tack it to, or use glue dots to tack it to the bottom of a wire basket. So if someone has produce that they're worried like they're not going to be changing out regularly enough, the produce can still be in a wire basket, like potatoes, onions, whatever it is they like to keep in their pantry. And then there's still a plastic lining underneath instead of the metal wires. So that's the time that I'll use thick shelf liner. I also really like the foamy, not the ones with the holes in it, but a foamy liner that some really more of the nicer tool chests will come with in the garage for those really shallow drawers that nice tool chests have. It makes it so your tools don't rattle around and don't move around, and they lay flat and nice. I think those are great. So I'm not anti any kind of shelf paper. When I was in rentals in the past and we'd move into one house in particular was really old, and the drawers were just so gross. And so even though I was putting things in containers in the drawers, you could just see the grossness through the clear containers. And so I got some fun contact shelf paper and I put it on the bottoms of the drawers, and it made me so happy. And I've seen people do that with wallpaper and different things. I think it can be really cute. But if you're starting with a clean slate and you don't have damaged shelves or drawers that you're trying to cover up, I don't think it's necessary. When I first did my pantry, so this is not too long ago, my mom told me the first thing I needed to do was get shelf paper. And so I looked and looked everywhere, and I invested, at the time it felt like an investment. It was like over $100 worth of shelf paper. It was kind of foamy, it was kind of sticky underneath, but it didn't adhere. It was sticky in that it didn't move around. I cut it to size. I got white shelf paper for all my shelves, and after a week it was just driving me crazy because it would bunch up and you couldn't slide anything on it and it wouldn't lay flat, and it just that was one of the few times that I invested and did not the non-contact paper type shelf paper, and I didn't personally like it very much. Okay, one other thought. I know this is like not the most thrilling conversation. I'm so glad for those who have joined in to talk about shelf paper, but I am going to keep this on my feed for when the questions come in the future, because I know they will, since they've come in so much this last year. Okay, one space is the exception to everything I just told you, and it's pots and pans. And that's because pots and pans, we don't ever put pots and pans in containers. They just have to go on the shelf, or unless you have like a vertical storage rack. So typically we just store pots and pans in a drawer in the cabinet. And I do find that those drawers and cabinets can get damaged from pots and pans. So if you're kind of on the fence and you're thinking, well, what about this? I think it's totally fine to put shelf liner or shelf paper down for just one or two cabinets too, if you don't want them to get damaged by your pots and pans, or maybe they are already damaged from metal scratching that surface. So bottom line, I don't think shelf paper is necessary if you're going to start organizing, like reset your nest and keep things in containers. I don't think you need it. If you want to add something fun and a little bit of personality or color inside a dresser drawer or in your pantry, great. Go ahead and put the contact paper down. I don't like the non-sticky shelf paper though, unless you're using it in a tool storage bench. So let me know if I missed anything, if there are any other spaces or areas where you have questions about where you've wanted to use it or think it's useful in the past. But for my personal and professional experience, that's where I stand on the shelf paper question. So I hope that was helpful. Okay, have a good Monday, you guys. Later on today in stories, we're going to announce the winner to our giveaway. And since we are giving away a free DIY virtual organizing session, I'm also going to share with you some of the amazing things Amy, my organizer who's heading up my DIY virtual organizing sessions, what she's done for some of our clients the past couple weeks, because it's just like mind-blowing. Like I can organize in person, but the stuff that she does virtually is so good. So that's what's coming later today, and I hope you have a good Monday. See ya.